Hello, well, my name's Norman Rosenthal. For many years, I was the Director of Exhibitions at the Royal Academy of Arts between 1978 and 2008. In that time, I did two very important manifestations, actually three very important manifestations that included the work of Georg Baselitz, who I have been supporting as an artist for many, many years. And he produced this very beautiful work, Die schöne Wiese, in the year 2000. I think he was already living part of the year in Italy by that time. He has a house near Genoa in a where he both sculpts and paints. And this painting, which has two big elements in it. It has this figure, this jockey figure, on the one side with his hat fallen off. So again, Baselitz always plays with the idea of the upside down man, or has done for a very long time, played with the idea of the world upside down, the upside down man, and the person looked at from a strange perspective. So we see that, and on the other side we see these rocks. And Baselitz is an artist who incredibly recognizable, but has always played with ideas of history, with the ideas of history and the history of Germany. He very much feels to be himself a German artist, if you like, a prisoner of the German tradition that goes back to German Expressionism, to the German woodcut, but also to the world of Caspar David Friedrich and so on and so forth, but at the same time has been extraordinarily influenced by Italy and Italian mannerism in particular, and all these things come together in this extraordinary painting. I mean, I think it's a beautiful painting, a very imaginative painting, which is also a drawing, and Baselitz too is an artist who is, if you like, a conservative artist in the best sense of the word, insofar as he is a master of the four classic elements of art, of course, in a world which, of course, has seen this outburst of what you might call expanded art media. But he is a great painter, a great draftsman, a great sculptor, and a great printmaker. He lives very much in being himself, but also he's an artist who is very connected to the history of art. And in this painting, for example, in the jockey, we can see a rather strange reminiscence of that rather extraordinary painting by Degas of the fallen jockey. Also, when we look at the rocks on the other side, Baselitz is thinking very much about Picasso and also about Cézanne and Cézanne's and Picasso's paintings of rocks. You know, in the paintings that Cézanne did near the Château Noir in the south of France, and on the other side of the Pyrenees, early Cubist paintings that Picasso did around about 1909, I think, in the village of Horta. As I said, I did these three big shows of Baselitz at the Royal Academy. The first one was a new spirit in painting in 1981, at the beginning of 1981, which first got this, at that time still in Germany, incredibly controversial artist to have a platform outside the the larger German-speaking world. I'm here that in this case I mean Germany, Switzerland, Austria, maybe Holland and Denmark as well, where he was certainly well known, but always very controversial at this time. But this was the first exhibition where he showed significantly outside that world and brought him to world attention. Baselitz, of course, quickly established his own practice, first in Berlin, where he studied, in West Berlin, and then in the center of Germany before moving to that famous castle in Danneburg. In the center of Germany, he painted in this huge, extraordinary castle, which he bought very, very cheaply, as it happens, because nobody wanted to live in a big, big castle. And he made this his home and made it a huge center for the art of himself, and where he gathered many of his friends around him. You know, he's continued to reinvent himself, as I think, in my opinion, almost no other artist of his generation has been able to do. And with these paintings, such as this one, which somehow belongs into a series which he called his remix period, even though by remixing, many of these paintings he remixed But in this particular painting, I think he is inventing an entirely new kind of theme, which in some ways has kind of memories, a little bit of his fracture paintings. The other artist he admires enormously is Jackson Pollock. And so you have a sense almost of a dripping painting of Jackson Pollock in this painting. All these things come, so you have Degas, you have Picasso, you have Jackson Pollock, but above all you have Baselitz. And I think Baselitz is an extraordinary artist, maybe, to me, the greatest painter in the purest sense of the word of his generation. He manages, to always have ideas. His paintings are ideas. Can I read you this little quote that my friend Carla Schultz-Hoffmann, who used to run the contemporary section of the Staatsgemälde Gallery in Munich many years ago, who wrote in our catalogue, said, and this gives you some idea, this is Baselitz speaking. He says, a one-track mind is not enough. You have to go down multiple tracks, doing a whole multitude of things, accommodating all sorts of ruptures in your work, changing, being a chameleon. And then Carla goes on to say, but even in the life of the chameleon, there is one constant, permanent metamorphosis within one and the same identity. And I think that sums up the work of the beautiful painter, sculptor, printmaker, and draftsman Georg Baselitz very beautifully.